Hello, ladies and gentlemen. And today's story is like the spookiest story, You know, when they were saying they're killing black women in the hospitals, I really, didn't believe it because I didn't look at the research. I didn't do none of that. So, a couple of weeks ago, it just popped on my mind. And I just happened to I want to do some research on black women dying in hospitals. So I just looked up a couple of names. I just looked up on the internet black women who died after giving birth. So they gave me a list of names of black women who died after giving birth. And guess what I found out the common denominator was? I was just looking through a lot of them. I looked through like 6 of them. Random. 6 random women. And the common denominator was they all had a C-section. All of them had a C-section. But that's not the spooky part. These news articles are making it seem like they died because of their health or their vagina was just too weak. They're bringing up all these other excuses. They said this one woman died because of high blood pressure. She had a C-section. All of these women who had a C-section died after giving birth. Now, this woman that you see on the screen right now, I'm going to tell a little bit about her and a few other women that I've seen. It's a lot of them. I can't go through all of them. But they all have the same common denominator. These C-sections. First up, Yolanda Kadima. She died July 27th, 2020. Recently, guys. She was only 35 years old. 3 days after her C-section delivery. 3 days. She leaves behind 7 children, including her newborn twins. 3 days after delivery. After that C-section, she dies. Our next victim is Amber Isaac. She was only 26 years old when she died on April 21st, the year of 2020, after an emergency C-section. After she had the C-section, she put up a tweet where she was talking about how incompetent those doctors were. They treated her like trash. I'm pretty sure they were white. I've been noticing lately that white people, Caucasian people, aren't good at anything. If you got a white doctor, he's not that good. You just don't know. You just don't know his job. If you knew his job, you'll see how incompetent he really is. Like when I'm on my job, at first, my first day there, everybody looked good because they're better than me. I don't know what I'm doing. A month in, you start to see who's who. Because you're competent enough to know who's good and who's not. Because you know what's going on. Let's get back to the story. They say all of this was 100% preventable. All of it. Said Bruce Isaac III, her partner, her husband, her man, I don't know. He said he thinks she would have got more attentive care if she was a white woman to be honest with you. That's his words. That's her husband's words. He was there. They treated her like shit. They didn't care. They just did a C-section, emergency C-section. What is an emergency C-section? If the baby ain't ready to come out, it ain't ready to come out. They tell you some bullshit just to get you to do a C-section and you dead 4 days later. Just like Amber Isaac. And they don't give a damn. Period. Our next victim is Kyra Dixon Johnson. She was only 39 years of age. Died April 13, 2016. After bleeding internally for more than 10 hours following a routine C-section. She left behind 2 sons. They left her bleeding for 10 hours. No checkup, no nothing. No nothing. Charles Johnson, he was more of a doctor than those doctors. I don't even want to call them doctors. Than those incompetent idiots who was supposed to be caring for this woman. He could see the bed getting pink with blood. He could see it. Only him, though. Only him. Doctors doing other shit instead of caring for their patients. They need their doctor's card stripped from them. Every last one of these bozos. Guess what else Charles Johnson said? He said, I just held her by the hand and said, please, my wife isn't doing well. He held the doctor by her hand and said, please, my wife isn't doing well right now. Guess what the doctor said? She's not our priority right now. Wow. She wasn't a priority. A woman dying after a C-section that you gave her. She's dying, bleeding internally. And now she's not a priority. How cruel. Our next victim goes by the name of Shaija Washington. Died after a emergency C-section at a New York hospital in Brooklyn, New York. It says on July 2nd, Shaija went to Woodhull Medical Center, a hospital in Bed-Stuy section of Brooklyn, for a routine stress test. She was a few days past her due date, and the hospital decided to keep her for observations. When they saw that her blood pressure was abnormally high, coincidentally, the hospital ended up giving her Pitocin. It's a medication that causes uterine contractions to induce labor, right? And then after that, they convinced her to get an epidural. She hesitated a little bit, and then she agreed to it. It also says here her doctor deviated from medical acceptable standards. So he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. This is another white doctor. Incompetent. He was incompetent. He can't do anything. If you got a white doctor, be very suspicious because he's not doing his job right. I promise you. If you knew what his job was, you'll see how incompetent he is and how he's not doing anything right. They also found that he failed to appropriately administer oxygen treatment after Washington reported difficulty breathing and didn't maintain adequate records of her care. Dr. Shalashkov, he's 60 years old. He's under investigation. They got his whole hood under investigation. That's how it should be. Have that whole hospital under investigation. Because to have this guy there, they probably got plenty more. Because he's over somebody. And he's teaching them the wrong things to do. Woodhood Hospital in Brooklyn. What a coincidence. Our next victim, they don't discriminate. Dr. Shanice Wallace. I don't know if I butchered that. Dr. Shanice Wallace. They say she died due to preeclampsia complications 2 days after she welcomed her daughter, Charlotte, to this world. Now, what the hell do preeclampsia mean? See, this is what I'm talking about. They throw these words that nobody never heard of. You know, a white person made up this word, just put a bunch of letters together. Oh, preeclampsia, this what does this mean? They don't make nothing simple. Everything got to be difficult with hella buttons because they don't know how to simplify shit. They go the long way all the time. But luckily, we got a smartphone nowadays, so we can just look it up. Let's see what preeclampsia means. It means a form of toxemia of pregnancy. And what does toxemia mean? Blood poisoning. It means blood poisoning. Now that's all the stories I have for today. My thing is, like I'm saying, they're telling us black women are dying at a very high rate after birth. They're trying to strike fear in us to not give birth in the first place. They're saying we're dying at a high rate. They don't know why we're dying. We're just dying at a higher and higher rate each year. That means these Caucasians are getting better. These devils are getting better at killing us. That's one thing they are good at. Destroying things. That's why they're on this earth. Just to destroy things. Nothing else. All they do is destroy, destroy, destroy. They'll tell you that this woman died because of high blood pressure, but they won't tell you she had a C-section. They'll tell you this woman died because of internal bleeding through the vaginal system or something like that. But they won't tell you she had a C-section. They'll tell you she died right after birth. Won't tell you why. She just died. Complications. All right, guys, I'm out. Y'all like, subscribe, and comment. And never forget that they always promoting death to our community. And we ain't going for it.